Good evening, and now we'll ta- take up where we left off with the Holy Prophet Abraham. There are a great many details to the story of Abraham, and I think we've really entered into authentically historic times with Abraham. Uh, the things we want to point out about the character of Abraham, it might show us why God chose him as his chief apostle in this era, and chose him to establish that center where God would reveal the faith. And when we see Abraham bringing his nephew Lot into Canaan with him, one of the things we notice is Abraham is interested in peace. He doesn't want strife between himself and his brother's child, his brother's son. And this concern for peace brings him to suggest that he and Lot take their flocks and their people and part company so that there will be no conflict between them. And then the second aspect is that he does it in a very unselfish manner. He suggests that Lot can choose which direction he will go. If you choose to go to the left, I'll go to the right. If you choose to go to the right, I'll go to the left. And so he gives Lot the choice instead of insisting on the choice himself. Although he is the oldest, he's the uncle, he has the authority, and he has the power. But he yields that and gives Lot first choice. And Lot looks down on the river Jordan and chooses the Jordan Valley, as far down as the southern shore of the Dead Sea, as an area where he'll graze his flocks. So Abraham has been conscious of the possibility of strife and resolved it in favor of peace, and he's been unselfish and allowed Lot to choose the better land and the better area for himself. And Abraham deals in every way, honestly and fairly, with the people with whom he's intermingled now in Canaan. He doesn't go in and take things that belong to someone else. There's a negotiation, a price, a purchase, an alliance. Then when we come to the story of when God the Word appears with two angels before Abraham at Mamre to restate the covenant that he has with Abraham, we see an interesting dialogue between God the Word and Abraham and Abraham. And in this dialogue, the Lord has told Abraham that he intends to destroy the region of Sodom and Gomorrah because of the iniquities of the people. And why do we need to know this dialogue? Why is this given to us? Well, for one thing, it shows Abraham at his best. Abraham is seeking a kind of justice that is not human justice. He would spare the whole city if there could be found 50 righteous amongst the people. 50 people who are living a decent life, not oppressing anyone, and not committing great, horrendous acts. And God said, well, all right, if I find 50, fine. Well, Abraham keeps lowering the bar. If you find 10, Lord, will you not spare the whole city for the sake of 10 who are righteous? So here we see something about Abraham. He is interested in justice for those who are innocent. You see, justice doesn't just apply to punishing the guilty. Justice also applies to preserving and defending the innocent, and even those who are not necessarily innocent, but poor and defenseless. So we're being given a vision of the character of Abraham. Now, God has chosen him, not Lot, and not Terah, his father, nor his brother Haran, who had died sometime earlier anyway, Lot's father. But we see these qualities in Abraham. He trusts God. He will go wherever God sends him because he trusts him. He is very interested in maintaining peace. He's unselfish and willing to take the lesser and give somebody else the greater, particularly in the interest of peace. But he could have had peace without doing that. So there's a real unselfishness here in Abraham. And then there is this desire for of compassion, a justice that is deeply blended with compassion. Spare the whole city, spare all of them, spare even the guilty for the sake of a few who are innocent. And this is very profound. And this is a great revelation to us. How can we be apostles of Jesus Christ and be convincing about it? Why does Christianity have so little impact on the world today? And we have to ask ourselves if it is not because some of the loudest voices proclaiming Christianity, particularly in North America, are not interested in this kind of justice. They're interested in the kind of justice that means punishment and destruction. They're not interested in the kind of justice which would spare everyone for the sake of a few who were innocent. Even the debates about the death penalty. You know, in Canada, we've had some people who've been given, we don't have a death penalty, who've been given life in prison, and sometimes serving more than 20 years, only to be found innocent in the end. Now, supposing those men had been put to death, what could we do? They were released from prison and given a few $1 million each by the Crown, but we can't possibly replace the 20 lost years. But what could we have given, or what could we have done had they been found innocent after they'd been executed? It is not worth having a death penalty at the risk of executing a few innocent people. And indeed, it's not worth having the death penalty at all. It has no benefit. Maybe it's cheaper in the long run than keeping people in prison. But in any case, the death penalty is uncivilized and barbaric, and it should be done away anyway. Abraham is certainly not anxious to rush into destroying or killing a bunch of people. And really, the natural cataclysm that destroyed that south end of the sea of the Salt Sea, or what we call the Dead Sea, was eventually coming anyway, because it was an area of pitch and tar and of high seismic activity in that great trench that runs all the way down into Africa and is slowly opening up to let the sea in. So a lot is in this city, and yet somehow, even living in the midst of that, he's able to maintain his decency, his propriety, and to keep himself clean of what's going on around him. He is from the same father as Abraham, the same family as Abraham. And this is what has been experienced within this family itself, this faithfulness to God and to God's will. So we find a man living in a city of total depravity, total inhumanity, total lack of hospitality. And here is Lot, like his uncle Abraham, filled with hospitality. A stranger comes, well, we have to give them a place to sleep. We have to give them something to eat. They're travelers. They have no place to sleep. They have nothing to eat. So we'll bring them into our own house and we'll feed them. In the case of the Lord and the two angels who appeared to Abraham, in the middle of the day, they could carry on with their journey. Coming to Lot at Sodom, it was late in the day. They couldn't carry on with the journey, so he's going to show them this hospitality. And this hospitality is a part of what righteousness consists in. It's not just correct behavior according to some code, but there's a genuine concern with the welfare of these men. An opening of the heart to the stranger, an opening of the house to the stranger to bring them in. And this in itself is a part of what struggle against the venom of Eden is. It's this unselfish love, to receive people and to help them without any expectation of reward. To, as Abraham did, allow Lot to take the better